As the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juice pumping, boys.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Jeff Iafrate Show, and today I have a very special episode because I'm going to be debuting my first, this year at least, Detroit Lions mock draft. It is Mock Draft Monday. We haven't done really any mock drafts we haven't done any mock drafts of our own on the show, but today I'm going to show you guys my first ever full Detroit Lions mock draft. I'm going to talk about how disgusting the NBA All-Star Game is, and then later I'm going to show you Caleb Zarnick, who's a part of Crunch Time, his top 10 Detroit athletes currently, and I want you guys to grade him and see how he did because it's kind of an interesting discussion. So we'll get into all that today. Hope you guys are all doing well. I see you in there, Mike Reed, first one in here. Appreciate you, Eric Gray, Rick C, Coach Walk as well. Appreciate you all for joining. And like I said, my first ever mock draft 1.0. I got a video coming out at 1 p.m. of the entire mock draft, more in-depth breakdown. But today I'm going to go through the mock draft and show you guys what I did, positions I took, players I took, why I did it, so on and so forth. It is mock draft season, so you know what that means. A lot of pointless, meaningless discussions over players that we have no idea where they're going to go. And that's the reality. So let's have fun with it, and let's do a bunch of mock drafts to cope with the offseason, huh? Shall we? Appreciate you, Lions Troll, as well, for becoming a Crunch member. Appreciate that a ton. But let's get into it. By the way, members, reminding everyone, if you're currently a Crunch member, head over to YouTube, go to the community section. There's a members-only post of a discount code for merchandise. So it's 15% off. You use the code, order whatever you like. It's 15% off your whole order. So head over there now. But like I said, first ever mock draft today. We'll get into that at about 10:25, 10:30. But real quick, I had to mention how disappointing, and I know what you guys are doing this weekend. Unless there are some sickos out there, which, you know, there always is. There's no way any of you tuned into the NBA All-Star Weekend, right? Right? I mean, and as an avid NBA fan, that was my first love. It's my favorite sport. Obviously, I'm a big football guy, but NBA is my first love. I am absolutely disgusted with this All-Star Weekend. It sucks. It has to be, honestly, probably the worst All-Star Weekend out of any sport. Yeah, I said it. Like the dunk contest, Mac McClung, who I actually like, and I've been following him since high school, and he could fly. He's the only one out there putting any juice into the dunk contest. The three-point contest was depressing, one of the worst three-point contests I've seen lately. And the All-Star Game, it's like, what are we doing? It's awful. Adam Silver consistently trying to come up with new creative ideas, which I don't completely blame him, but it comes down to the players just giving a shit, and they don't, clearly. So the NBA, it's awful. It is awful. I don't know how you fix it, whether that's East versus West, and you have some sort of incentive, but how can you incentivize guys making $50 million a year? I mean, it sucks. The only highlight was watching Cade Cunningham debut in his first All-Star appearance. That was the great part of the weekend, getting to watch Cade out there playing minutes. But the tournament, it's like, and then you have, like Draymond brought up, you have rising stars playing like on All-Star Sunday. Well, what are we doing? It sucks. It's actually one of the worst products in sports. I mean, it is. It's awful. And then after, you have Zach LaVine and Ja Morant saying, well, next year I'll participate. We go through this every year. We go through this every year. There's always guys that come out and say, well, I'll play. Hey, don't worry. I got you next year. Like Zach LaVine, when him and Aaron Gordon went at it in the dunk contest, one of the best times. But, like, what are we doing? And Mike Reed, like Lucas's brother. Yeah, Tyler Hero, Lucas's twin, won the three-point contest. It's like, it's one of the worst things in sports right now. I don't know how you fix it. But the NBA is actually becoming more and more sad. I mean, Victor and Chris Paul participating in the skills challenge and just trying to cheat to win, not giving a single shit. The NBA is becoming an entitled league. And, well, it has been an entitled league. But there's no more passion in these All-Star games anymore. There is no more passion. There's less giving a shit, more of, well, I'm just here during the All-Star break when I could be in Turks and Caicos. It's so depressing. And it sucks because I used to look forward to All-Star weekend. And now I can't stand it. It stinks. It's one of the worst products. You know what? And I made fun of Booner on Friday for watching the Daytona. I bet the Daytona was a better experience than watching any of All-Star weekend. And yeah, I said it. And I hope Booner's listening. Because how much of an ass do I look like for giving him shit for watching Daytona? And I think, honestly, it was probably a better product than what I saw this weekend. It was awful. It's depressing, actually. So I don't know how you fix it, and it just continues to get worse. So for a sport that I love so much, it just continues to decline. And honestly, that's kind of been happening. Christmas Day was one of these staples of the NBA. It's ruined because now the NFL's on Christmas Day, and you're getting dominated. So, hey, it is what it is. But let's get into it. Like I said, first ever Detroit Lions mock draft 2025. So, I thought it'd be awesome if today I previewed my mock draft, showed off some of my selections. You guys can tell me what you think of it, anything you do differently. Again, these are mock drafts. We don't know what any of these players are going, but it's still fun to do. So we'll get into it. 1 p.m., the full mock draft drops, the whole breakdown on the channel, so you can check that out. I did 4.0 last year, did 4 versions. This is my first. I'll be doing it every single Monday leading up until the draft. So let's get into it. And by the way, have to make this very clear. No trades. Didn't make any trades. Not in this one. I'll do one probably 2.0 or 3.0. I'll make trades, but this one didn't do a single trade. So I want to make that very clear first. So, all right. First ever mock draft. And you know what? If you guys hate it, let me know. All right, let's get into it here. Let me get over here. All right. So, with the first round selection in my first mock draft, Detroit Lions mock draft this year, you can guess what position it is, right? Right? It's not going to be, an offensive player or maybe a DB. The obvious selection would be, yes, as it should be. Let me explain. Looking at it, you see Nick Scorton. You're thinking, Nick Scorton? Yes. Nick Scorton is someone that I've been watching, and I really like Nick Scorton. He's projected to go at the end of the first. Yeah, projected. Very good player. 6'4", 285. And by the way, what I look at for a lot of these guys, similar to what the Lions look at, is can you get after the quarterback? Can you play the run? He can play the run. Very good. Do I sound okay now? Let me check this. Hold on. Am I good now? How do we sound? How are we doing? All right. You know what? Let's just turn this off. Okay. We'll just turn it off. I'm not even going to mess with the music. All right. Am I good now? Making sure so we can move on here. Am I good? All right. Cool. We're back. All right. Like I said, Nick Scorton, edge, Texas A&M, 20 years old. He played at Purdue. Very productive. I mean, this dude, as much as he can get after the quarterback, he's very good in the run game. At Purdue, led the Big Ten in sacks, 8th in the nation with 10 sacks. So this is a player who was productive, transferred to an SEC school, first team all SEC. So again, this is someone that I really like. I know the Lions are probably going to really like, and he's someone that I've seen a lot of Eagles fans are loving, and they want him to fall to the 32nd pick. So you get to take him at 28. I think this is a home run pick. You get to take an edge. Again, would I like a Jack Sawyer? Yes, but if you like him, you take him at 28. But this is a player that I think is undoubtedly a first-round pick, and he's probably not going to be there for you anywhere close in the second round. So I like Nick Scorton a lot. Young, a lot of upside, and I think with Casey Rogers can develop into a very good pass rusher. So my first-round selection goes to Nick Scorton, edge out of Texas A&M. Okay, let's get to the next one. Second-round pick for the Lions. This was a little more interesting because there was other positions that were there. I was trying to go BPA, but also fill positions of need. And this next player, I don't know if he will be there. But again, these are mocks. We don't know anything, to be honest with you. So let's get to the second selection. And I think you guys will like it. And that player is Derek Harmon, the defensive lineman out of Oregon, 6'5", 310, led college football in pressures on true pass sets among defensive tackles. This is a big man who runs very fast, very quick off the line of scrimmage. I mean, last year he had 21 miles per hour. So he is a big fella who doesn't move like a big fella. And he's from Detroit, which, again, it's not really why you take him, but it's also a bonus. Very good player from Detroit, went to MSU, transferred to Oregon, obviously stays in the Big Ten, and was very productive this year on Oregon, who had a lot of expectations. I love Derek Harmon. And to me, he's someone that probably won't be available at this pick. You're probably going to have to trade up for him. He's rumored probably early second. I would say he's probably in the range of 25 to 40, 45 at the latest, but he was here at 60. Again, this is my selection, but let's be very clear. You're probably going to have to trade up for him, but he is very good. I would be all for trading up for him. If you traded up for Broderick Martin, you can trade up for Derek Harmon, who will be 1,000 times better than Broderick Martin and actually played against better competition and held his own. 5 sacks on the year. So I like it a lot. Future DJ Reader replacement. I see Mr. Ray here. He says, honestly, if the Eagles franchise likes the prospect of taking him, if I'm the Lions, they draft better than any team in the NFL. And the evidence is in the Super Bowl a week and a half ago. Well, with Josh Sweat hitting free agency, they're probably going to take another edge. Even if they re-sign him, they'll probably draft another edge because that's how they operate. So, yeah, I am with you on that. Let's see here. Silent, no way he's available at 60. I actually agree with this. Again, it's hard. I mean, these mock drafts, no one really knows anything. The mocks I see him at 25. Some mocks I see him at 35, 40. Some mocks I see him at the Lions pick at 28. Like, I don't know where he's going to go. But what I do know is if he's in the second round, to me, he's worth trading up for. But we will see kind of what happens there. Ghetto Boy wants a solid first pick. Appreciate that, Ghetto Boy Juan. Mr. Ray says guys fall every year. Yeah, I mean, we've been trained now with Brad Holmes' help to never really listen to where guys are projected because, again, everyone falls or rises. I mean, you've seen crazier things happen. Jack Campbell was rumored to be a second-round pick forever, and you take him at 18. So I think I learned none of us really know anything, if I'm being honest with you. All right, let's get to the next selection. So first 2 picks, defensive linemen. No one's surprised. This was always going to happen, especially for me. I'm big, and you guys know how I am with this, man. I'm trying to improve this defensive line. I think that's the big question heading into the year, in my opinion. And if you want to make everyone else better on that defense, you got to be able to get after the quarterback. And Nick Scorton and Derek Harmon are 2 very good selections. Casey Rogers is now there. He's going to do a great job with them. And you have a young defensive coordinator, which, you want to help them? Get pass rushers. Helps every DC. So don't quote me on that, but it's true. All right, let's get to the next selection. So this next selection is interesting. All right. And I think in terms of position, the Lions could go a couple of different ways here. They could go a couple of different ways here. What I did with my selection is I decided, you know what? I need a replacement for an older player that was very good this year, but they're going to need more out of that. And I think with Tim's age, Tim Patrick, now I just gave it away. Tim Patrick's age, you're probably going to have to find a replacement at some point. With Brad's drafting ability to find wide receivers, I would say he's pretty good at it, especially dating back to the Rams. And that player I took is Pat Bryant out of Illinois. Pick 132. And I'll explain this by saying 6'3", 200 pounds. Contested catch guy. You're looking at his contested catch rate, 69.9%, 69.2%. So guy can go up and get it. 1 drop on the year, 82.9 grade against man coverage. So I mean, Pat Bryant is a guy that's going to be probably in this range, probably a little higher, to be honest with you. But I love this pick. To me, this is an excellent pick. It's the Tim Patrick replacement, and he's someone that I think will pair perfectly with Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So my first three picks, two defensive linemen, a wide receiver. I knew the wide receiver would be a little out of left field. I don't know how you guys like it, or if you don't, I see some positive comments in there. So apparently, hey, you guys do like it. All right, cool. We're good. Josiah Stewart, that's a good one, Andrew. I wouldn't have minded that. He wasn't. There's a couple guys that I was looking for that wasn't on the board. Jaden Higgins, I do like a lot, but yes, Bryant, 18 yards per catch average. So he is that. You want a contested catch guy. That's what you're looking for to pair with Amon-Ra and Jamison. And Pat Bryant did exactly that at Illinois. So I really do like this pick. I did. He was there. I said, you know what? Let me get Pat Bryant. All right. The silence says Timmy P doesn't have enough juice. Yeah. Listen, I like Timmy P. Great character, high character guy. That's Klotzy's guy. All right. Very, very, very solid individual. He's a good player. Doesn't drop many passes. But again, age is undefeated, and he's probably not someone you're going to bring back for the next couple of years. He's just kind of a Band-Aid right now until you find a guy like Pat Bryant who can eventually take that role over. Purple Prince says, I really like Higgins. I like Higgins too, to be honest with you. That was the Iowa State wide receiver, but he wasn't there. Pat Bryant was, and he was my selection. But again, I'll do many different versions of this, so maybe I'll get Jaden Higgins in another one, but we will keep it pushing. All right. The next selection for me, now the Lions, since this is a 4th round pick, now we're getting into these later rounds, and you're looking for value. That's what's important. You're looking for value, and you're looking for players that will be basically depth, but have a chance, and you like the chance of eventually being a starter or contributing on special teams, things like that. So you're in these type of rounds. And these are what I call the money rounds for Brad Holmes, right? 5, 6, 7. You start to find guys like Christian Mahogany, Malcolm Rodriguez, just guys that kind of come out of the woodworks that are like, oh, these are pretty good players, and you're going to have an opportunity to do that here. So the next selection for me, and I already see some comments. Yep, I like it. We're on the same page, everyone. That player is Jake Majors, center out of Texas. And I love a Jake Majors, and let me explain why. 6'3", 315. But the thing I love about Jake Majors, what do we love about Frank Ragnow? Iron Man, the ability to be available. He has 39 straight starts, 39 in his career, straight starts. Got injured, had an ankle injury, but he is solid. He is the starting center, obviously, on one of the best offensive lines. Joe Moore Award nominated offensive line. He helped block from multiple 1,000-yard rushers, Bijan Robinson being one of them. And you played at a school like Texas with that offensive line, played in some big games, always elevated in those games, played his best football. He's great in pass protection, a mauler in the run game. Just a well-rounded dude. 0 sacks allowed in 2024. So you're looking at this guy as, okay, what can Hank Fraley do with Jake Majors? Well, I have full belief, not only in Hank Fraley's ability to develop, but Jake Majors, the talent he has, high character guy, super high character. I mean, everyone says nothing but good things about him. The guy's a 4.0 guy in school. Not that matters too much, but it kind of does when you're looking for, especially a guy like center, to play a position like that. Super, super smart dude. So I like it. I like this pick. I think this could be your future Frank Ragnow replacement. I know Graham can play center, but at the end of the day, you want someone that actually plays center and is a true center, and Jake Majors is a true center, and you get him at pick 194. So, you get some versatility there. Maybe you like someone that has more guard center ability, more versatility. I don't hate that, but Jake Majors sitting there at pick 194, I love it. Jake Majors, go watch him. Man, I don't watch offensive lineman highlights, but I like watching Jake Majors. He is an absolute dog. So pick 194, you get an offensive lineman, you get a center to eventually replace Frank Ragnow. All right, let's move on here. My next pick, And like I said before, now you're getting into special teams, maybe guys that have the starter upside that can provide some depth. So if half your team just dies on the field, you have depth like they didn't have last year, or at least the depth got hurt. So they had no options there. All right, let's get to the next one. Jalen Walker, linebacker out of Indiana. And if you've watched Indiana this year, Jalen Walker was all over the field. 2 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions. And more than that, he played at JMU, transferred to Indiana. Indiana was very good this year. And he is someone that can play off the edge, play in the box. He's got great versatility. He's not great in man coverage, but he is someone that can improve. And he's someone that got after the quarterback. All right, he's a great flyer. That's what this is. You're picking at 226. You're looking for flyers. You're looking for special team contributors. And to me, Jalen Walker is exactly that. So you're picking guys that played for good programs. Indiana, the Hoosiers were very good this year. Surprised a lot of people. You got Jake Majors from Texas, Derek Harmon from Oregon, and then you got, of course, Nick Scorton from Texas A&M, which, Dan Campbell knows about Texas A&M. So there you go. But I like this pick. All right. Again, this is basically your Derek Barnes replacement. There you go, Shift God. He put his hand in the dirt, can line up at edge, get after the quarterback a little bit. Had an interception against Ohio State. So not that hey, it's Ohio State, but that is the national champions. So he showed up in that game as well, had an interception. So I like it, like this pick a lot. So Jalen Walker from Indiana, now a part of the Detroit Lions. You take your linebacker. All right. Let's get to the next one. 2 more selections here. For the next selection, I decided another edge, and that edge is Johnny Walker. We got back-to-back Walkers here, all right? So you get Johnny Walker, edge out of Missouri, and I will tell you this, Johnny Walker, especially for 229, pick 229, 6'3", 255, 9.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. So I'm just saying, production's there. Again, you're picking at 229. You're looking for flyers, guys that can play special teams. There you go. Johnny Walker Jr. can do exactly that. Productive in the SEC. So you get 2 back-to-back Walkers on defense. And in all seriousness, I do really like Johnny Walker. I mean, 229 is good value. So like I said, you're looking for someone that can play some special teams for you. He has the production in college. I think he's like a 5th-year senior, if I'm not mistaken, 4th or 5th-year senior. So Coach Walk says my cousins. Jesse Adams says Nick Scorton came back home to Texas. He had to get out of Purdue. Shift God says time to get a Walker. There you go. Ghetto Boy Juan says this draft is so defense heavy. It's no way Brad can mess this up. Yeah, no, I think Brad's gonna have a very good draft, and I do believe it should be defensive heavy unless you're taking offensive lineman or a wide receiver. I don't know what other position you'd really take on offense. I don't. I mean, if you draft a tackle, then what? Does Giovanni Manu stink? I mean, I don't know. You shouldn't merely take any positions besides that. Center or wide receiver. Everything else should be defense, in my opinion. And Johnny Walker plays that edge spot. So maybe he can be a James Houston, but minus the stinking after 2 years of getting cut or getting hurt and really ruining his career. I don't know. Either way, I think Johnny Walker would be a very good pick for the Lions. All right, let's get to the last pick in the draft. This, to me, is another one of those flyer. Can he start for you? Potentially play some special teams for you. That's really what matters. And with that selection, Jordan Hancock, starting safety at OSU. Klotz would appreciate this. Jordan Hancock is not Caleb Downs. Okay? You're not getting Caleb Downs. But what you are getting is a starting caliber safety on the best defense in college football and someone that played, again, national championship winner, played starting safety at Ohio State, and someone that can come in and play special teams for you. That's essentially the pick. I mean, you're picking at 245, guys. You're taking flyers. And you had Brandon Joseph out there backing up Brian Branch, backing up Kirby Joseph. Now you get Jordan Hancock. You get some safety depth. They drafted Sione Vaki last year, safety out of Utah, but he's now playing running back. So you actually get a true safety, not a safety that you're going to move to running back. Okay, you get a true safety that can help you out in special teams. And I think at 245 to get Jordan Hancock with his experience, with his pedigree, I think it's a very good selection. So that wraps up my Detroit Lions mock draft 1.0 for the 2025 NFL draft. What would you guys grade it? Give me a grade. Be honest with me. You can be honest. Give me an F. Give me an A. Give me a B. Give me C. Whatever it is. I appreciate the criticism because, again, no trades in this draft. Is it realistic? Probably not, but that's mock draft season. None of these are realistic. None of us know where any of these players are going to go, but I take players that I think would be good fits with the Lions. So give me a grade on it. The Lions get 2 edges. They get a defensive tackle, wide receiver, center, linebacker, and safety. That is my draft. So I will have multiple versions of it, but that is what I have on this one, 1.0. You got A, I got a B plus. Hey, I'll take it. B plus. Let's see. I'll give it a B plus for some picks being a bit too optimistic. That's fair, Ben Bird. I'll take a B plus. That's good. If you get a B plus in any test, you're happy. Get a boy Juan. Jeff, do your homework on Malik Verdon, safety from Iowa State. I will look into that. Get a boy Juan. Let me write that down because I am all for checking out guys. I'm trying to do more. Let's see. Malik Verdon. Like that. Okay. I will check that out. All right. B pluses. All right. I'll take the B pluses. At least a B plus from those first 2 rounds alone. Okay. Love it. Silence says hard to do without knowing who was available. I'll go with a B. With that being said, all right, I'll take it. RJ B plus, get a boy Juan B plus, but great at addressing needs and mostly being realistic picks. Appreciate that, Ben Bird. Brian A plus B. All right, I'll take it. That's not a bad first 1.0 for me there. Again, these are I think positions. When you're talking about positions and what they need, this is what they need. Now, if you want to argue players, I don't mind that. I really don't. I honestly. In all seriousness, when you talk about a player like Jack Sawyer, I would love him. I don't know whether it's at 28. We know Brad will take players if he loves them at 28. Even if they're guys that are rumored in the second round like Jack Campbell, maybe you just take Jack Sawyer at 28. And I'm okay with that. I think to me, it's not as much about the players. It's more about the positions. Like if you want to tell me, well, Jeff, Nick Scorton's good, but I really like this player at 28 is an edge. I'm okay with that. I'm not going to debate players too much with you. I just will debate positions. If you want to tell me any other position, I will disagree, probably. So that's what it's really all about is what positions should the Lions take? And I think wide receiver would probably be the next one I would look into, or center. Like, if it's not a defensive lineman, you're not taking, besides a wide receiver or center, any other position. I mean, I can't imagine a DB. Like I do like this pick. I've seen this before. Silence says need to look at Donovan Izaraku. He was available actually. Silent. I will tell you that he was available, and I've heard a lot of buzz about him as well. I didn't take him in this one, but I'm not going to argue that he was available. So I took Nick Scorton. But again, like I said, positions, I'm not going to really go at you for it. So if you want to take a different edge, cool. I'm okay with that. Brian says, I like that there's no tweeners. Well, Brian, I'm with you, brother, because the tweener thing is getting old. And Nick Scorton is not a tweener. He can he's a pure pass rusher who's very good against the run. So that's what matters. Ben Bird says, sorry, I meant Jordan Hancock. What'd you say before? I think Jordan is more of a late day 2, early day 3 picks. Am I off base for thinking that? Well, no, Ben, actually, any of these guys that if people think any of these guys are overdrafted or underdrafted, whatever, I'm not going to argue too much. Again, I can't, there's no true realistic mock draft out there. I use PFF. I think it's one of the best mock drafts, but in all seriousness, I don't know where any of these guys are going to go. Nick Scorton could go mid-second round or go top 20. I don't know. Just like any of these guys. Jordan Hancock could go much earlier. You're probably right about that. I looked at my mock draft from last year, and some players that were available ended up being available later in the draft. So I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm the smartest man in the room and I know exactly where all these guys are going to go, because the truth is I don't. I don't know where these guys are going to go. Derek Harmon, I've seen him mocked to the Chiefs at 31. So he could be gone at 31. I've also seen others where he's available. I don't know what to make of it. I don't. So I'm just being completely open and honest with you all, because as much as I love doing these things, I'm not going to act like I'm the smartest man in the room by any means. That's for Brad to figure out. And if he thinks value's value, then go get your players. But I really do like this. I do, position-wise. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, the full first-round mock will be coming out at 1 p.m. It's basically the same thing, but I'll break it more down in depth. That comes out at 1 p.m. on our channel, YouTube. And, I'll do another version next Monday. And then tonight on the show, we're going to be doing our own mock draft. And then Fridays, we're going to be bringing back our full first-round mock drafts on Fridays, where me, Booner, Lukas, Caleb, Mike will be going through the whole first round. We'll each have our own picks, and we'll be alternating, going through and being GMs of every team in the first round, making trades with each other, arguing, talking trash. It'll be a lot of fun. That'll be on Fridays. We'll be doing that every Friday up until the draft. And then Mondays, it's Mock Draft Monday. So I'll come out with my version, my mock draft. And then on the show, Lukas and Booner will have their own mock draft. And we'll talk about it and have debates and probably argue. So, because that's typically what happens. All right. And then also, I'm glad Ghetto Boy Juan asked this. Appreciate you for this, Juan, because I wanted to tell you guys, you can send us your drafts. Now, what you're going to need to do for everyone that's listening, when you get your mock, whatever that is, make sure, try to do it a full mock if you can do. Don't do a bunch of trades either. It's up to you, really. Who cares, actually? Don't listen to me. Send it to Crunch Time. Send it to our Twitter. That's usually what we're on the most. And here, let me get this out of the way so you guys can see here. All right. All right. For people that want to participate in these mock drafts, because we're going to be grading fan mock drafts, we'll probably do that on Friday or another day. We'll find a day for it. Because that is important. We love looking at your guys' mock drafts. Right here, at Official CT Pod. You go check it out. Our Twitter, DM us, send us all your mocks. And if you don't have Twitter, send it to anything else. Send it to our Instagram. You can send it to our Facebook. We'll try to look and get as many as we can. But that's going to be the plan. So when you send us your mocks, we'll break them down. We'll grade them, because we did that last year and it was a lot of fun. Let's see. RJ says, was the second, third round pick the most difficult for you to was second and third round the most difficult for you to pick? I would say yes. They don't have a third round pick, so it was the second and the fourth round pick. But yes, to answer your question, yes, that was probably the hardest, because you could go different ways with that one. That's probably the two picks I'm most excited for Brad Holmes. Or curious, probably a better word. Nervous, partially. But yeah, second and fourth round, I mean, there's going to be a lot of guys. There's going to be a lot of defensive linemen. Lukas already broke down. He does his prospects on Tuesdays that he really likes. And the two guys he's broke down so far are both second, third round picks. So you could go edge in the second. I don't know. Maybe it changes what he does in the first. It's going to be a crazy draft. So to answer your question, yes, that second and fourth round pick were probably the hardest ones to make. Let's see. Rick C. It's February and there isn't much for QB talent in this year's draft. Nobody's mocks will even be close to accurate. It's just for fun. Well said, Rick. That's actually probably the best point anyone's ever made, to be honest with you. The quarterback talent in this draft is underwhelming. So in terms of players, I mean, you could have guys overdrafted significantly. It just depends. I mean, you've seen Shamar Stewart, who I think is good, but he could go super high. Ludell Wesley, I think I just mispronounced your name. Correct me on that. Need AJ Brown type receiver unless Tim Patrick emerges. Yeah, I'm looking at that too. I'm looking at a contested catch guy to go alongside J-Mo and Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra is a do-it-all kind of guy. J-Mo's a little more finesse. He's a stud. That's what J-Mo is. But he's not really a contested catch guy. So you do need someone to complement those guys. And I think Pat Bryant's a very good selection. But Tim Patrick, that's kind of what he does. I mean, we all remember him jumping over a defender. I think that was against the Bears. But you need someone that can do those type of things. That'll fit well in this offense. Coach Walk, we have a third round pick because the Jets took a minority coach from us. Oh, yes. That actually didn't pop up. I couldn't make the selection on PFF. I couldn't do that pick. So they will have a third round pick, but I couldn't make the pick, if it makes any sense. Okay. It wasn't popping up on PFF yet. So, yes, that is true. They do have a third-round pick because Aaron Glenn, but I couldn't use it. So, and I actually do. That's a good point you brought up because the question they asked about the second and third round pick, I couldn't make the third round pick, but yes, the second and third round will probably be the hardest picks to make for Brad. So to answer that question. All right. Shift God says you get Mac and pair him up with the edges we get in this draft. We cooking. Yeah. I mean, that's again, I think they should double dip. I think you should draft an edge or two and then go sign somebody. Like, you can never have enough pass rushers. The Eagles literally just showed you that. You can never have enough. You can never have enough. It doesn't matter. You just have guys coming out of the woodworks. And if guys need a break, you got it. And by the way, Mike Green was not on this list. He was not available when I made the pick, or else I would have taken him. He's another one where people are saying could go top 15, could go top, he could be there for the Lions at 28, could go back in the first round. I don't know. He's another one that I don't really know where he's going to go. So that's another one. Silence says if Green has a good combine, he's top 15. Yeah, I would agree. Coach Walk says, I bet you trade Hooker for an extra third round pick. I actually would be all on board with that, Coach. I think the Jets would be a team I'm calling immediately. Try and see if they want Hendon Hooker. Or, the Jets, the Raiders maybe, but I don't think the Raiders, they'll probably just stay pat and take a quarterback. But maybe the Jets would like him. Aaron Glenn's been around him. He would know better. So maybe you could get that third round pick back. If you can get a third round pick back for Hendon Hooker, you took him in the third, that's a win. I don't know if you'll be able to do it, but if you can, I'm all on board with it. He's never going to play here, so it's pointless. Just trade him while he has some sort of value. Logan says we could sign Josh Sweat in free agency. They could. I personally think it's probably not going to happen. He already said he would take a pay cut with Philly. I don't know if he would take a pay cut with Detroit. I think he wants to get paid, but if it means rejoining Philly and chasing a Super Bowl and being the favorites, he's probably okay with taking less money. I don't know if he'd want to go to Detroit and take less money. So I don't know how realistic Josh Sweat is. I would like it, but I'm not open to signing him to any long-term deal or anything like that. I'm just not. So that would be a little tricky. It just depends. Let's see. Seth says, I'm perfectly okay with getting rid of Hooker. Yeah. Silent says you may get a fifth for him. I would still do it. I'm with you, Silent. Trade him for a fifth. Trade him for I really don't care at this point. Just get him out of here. It's over. It's completely over. JT Olsen says Hooker is like 29 years old and a third string quarterback. He has zero value. All right, third string's a little aggressive. He was third string for the playoffs. All right, because Dan was probably worried about the experience. But he was backup all year. So I'm correcting you on one string because that one string could be the difference. Maybe you get a fifth for him. A third string is Nate Sudfeld. And Nate Sudfeld is one of the worst Lions players I've seen in the last handful of years. So that's why I'm triggered. But yeah, you could probably, I don't know if you'll get a third for him, but if you can get any draft pick for him, at this point, just get something. Just get something. He's never going to play. So what's the point of it? Nothing. Go sign a backup. Not Jameis, but go sign a backup. Proud Cheer Dad. What up, everyone? What's going on, Cheer Dad? Appreciate you for joining. Logan says, I don't care what anyone says. We have to get Mike Green in the first round. Yeah, Mike Green would be a stud, dude. And I've seen him. You guys were there last Thursday when we broke down another national mock, and they had him going to the Ravens. So it's like he'll be, and that's a pick in front of the Lions. Let's see. JT says Sudfeld might be better than Hooker. LOL obviously hasn't impressed the staff. Yeah, that's rage bait. That's rage bait, JT. Don't do that. Don't do that. Nate Sudfeld I don't think he's gotten a job. Stop it. Stop it right now. Stop it right now. Stop it right now. Shift God, Browns and Jets need to be hopping on this. Yeah, Browns would be another potential team. I wouldn't be shocked if they need to acquire some sort of quarterback, but, JT Olsen is a hater. We'll just go with that. Yeah, hating on Hendon Hooker, man. Listen, I don't know what you expect out of Hendon. Do I think he's a world beater? No. But do I think it's unfair to even have an opinion about him because we haven't seen him? Like, if people really want to take him getting not getting the backup job in the playoffs as he stinks, then go ahead. I think that's misleading. I do, because they loved him all year. And Dan literally came out and said, well, I don't know if we want this guy backing us up in the playoffs for a team we expect to win a Super Bowl. It makes sense, complete sense, actually. He's never started in a game, and now he's going to start in a playoff game potentially. Like, no, obviously not. Teddy Bridgewater made more sense. He's seen a lot of football. I don't think they did it because he's far better than Hendon Hooker. I don't think it's personally. But we'll see. Rick C says, in a typical draft year, Hooker has no value. In this quarterback class, Hooker's looking good to someone. Options are limited. It's another good point, Rick C. Yeah, and if you're looking at an underwhelming quarterback class and you have Hendon Hooker available for like a late pick, why not take a swing at him? If you imagine this, guys, think of this scenario right now. If Hendon Hooker was coming out of Tennessee this year, where would he be? Where would he be? In terms of quarterback rankings, where would he be? Like, let's think about it. Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Hendon Hooker. Jackson Dart and him would probably be battling for QB3. So let's think about it like that. We'll see. Especially what he did at Tennessee and the SEC. He'd be right there with Jackson Dart. So Scott says, honestly, wouldn't mind Fields as a backup. It's tough. I don't know. When you get a guy like Justin Fields who's super mobile, you want, typically when you have whoever your starter is, you want someone backing him up that's similar to that starter, because it especially if you're an offensive coach and you're having a whole game plan for Jared Goff, you don't want Justin Fields to step in mid-game, and he's a completely different quarterback. He's just completely different. And that's what's tricky. But I get your point, though. Fields, as a backup would be solid. I think he starts somewhere, probably Pittsburgh, if I had to guess. They probably bring him back, but we'll see. Unless they trade for Matthew Stafford. Who knows? But, yeah. Logan says, when Goff is done in Detroit, I'd like to get a mobile quarterback. Yeah, everyone wants a mobile quarterback. That's pretty much where we're at in the NFL. Everyone wants a mobile quarterback. And now the thing is, the mobile quarterbacks give you a big advantage, especially when plays break down. And that's something that Goff just can't do. Doesn't mean he can't get the job done, though. That's where I'm at. Joe Burrow is not mobile. Is he as good as Joe Burrow? No. But Goff is, I'd say a top 8 quarterback in the league. And the tricky part of seeing all this stuff, it's like walking into a store and on the shelf, it's all these items you like. But then your mom looks at you and goes, well, we got this at home. It's like sometimes you got to have appreciation for what you have at home, because sometimes you can't always afford these things. Especially Josh Allen. Where are you getting Josh Allen? Where are you getting Patrick Mahomes? Where are you getting all these guys? They don't come out. They're generational. Jalen Hurts, probably not generational, but again, Super Bowl winning quarterback, very good. But like Mahomes, all these guys are generational. You have a top 8 quarterback. Sometimes that's fine. You're cool. You're cool with Jared Goff until you aren't. Until he just craps the bed consistently. Then you can have a conversation. But at this point, it's tough to look at Jared Goff and be like, yeah, I just want something better. It's like, where? You're drafting at the end of the first round. Where are you going to get that? What are you going to take Jackson Dart at 28? Hope he's better than Goff and waste a first-round pick when you could have an edge rusher, which you desperately need? Like, it gets tricky. So, I don't mind people saying, hey, I want a new quarterback. Okay, how do we get there? And why? Why do you want that new quarterback? I was the idiot that said I thought Hendon would start eventually over Jared Goff, and I look like a clown, and that's okay because I really do still like Hendon Hooker. My biggest thing was that mobility unlocks another dimension of this offense, but you have to just be like, you know what? The Lions just love Jared Goff. They love him, and they extended him, and he's not going anywhere. Let's see. Instead of just blowing the idea of mobility, how about you take a day and actually figure out how mobility has proven to be better than Goff? Then let me know. I think the big thing is, you look at the AFC and NFC championship games and you have 4 mobile quarterbacks. That's what people are looking at. And I don't necessarily blame them. Now, those guys can also do things like beat you in the pocket. They have those capabilities. Jalen Hurts, I always doubted with that, but he showed it in the Super Bowl against Spags and that defense. So, I completely understand the mobile quarterback conversation. I'm not going to be like, oh, how dare you bring up a mobile quarterback? No, it's a real thing. It's literally been proven this year that it helps. I'm not referring to you either. This isn't at you. I'm just talking to the general public about this. I understand it, but my thing is, people say, I want a mobile quarterback. It's yeah, but you want a quarterback that can do what Goff does, but be mobile. That's essentially what you're saying, because Goff is one of the best at what he does. So it's tricky. Do I wish Goff would be a little mobile at times? Yeah, he's mobile in the pocket. He's shown the ability to move around a little bit, but he's not going to be scrambling a ton, which that's what people are talking about, is when the play breaks down, can you scramble for a first down? He's not doing that. And it is what it is. It is what it is. He's still a very good quarterback, and he was an MVP candidate this year. So you have to take the good with the bad. There's a lot of teams that would take off right now over who they have. So that's the reality. But hey, hope you guys enjoyed my first ever Detroit Lions mock draft, my 1.0. Again, the full mock, essentially the mock, and I break it down, comes out at 1 p.m. So tune into that. I appreciate you all, as always, for the support. You guys are amazing. Even the people that, will talk trash to me. I enjoy it. I love pushback. It's great. Let's have discussions. All right, let's do it. We will be live tonight, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., and we will be doing our own mock draft, discussing it more. So if you love draft content, subscribe, tune in to the show tonight. But until then, I will catch you all. Don't forget, merchandise, officialctsports.com. You can get your merchandise. And for all the members currently watching, go to our community section, and there will be a code, 15% off merchandise, your total order. So go get whatever you like, especially Lions gear for the offseason. But, excuse me. Until tonight, I will catch you all. See you later.